Morning, Abotai. Another very important halacha. We spoke about the halachot of Birkat HaGomel. Another category of a person that needs to say Birkat HaGomel is a person traveling through a desert. Yoredei midbarot. And the reason for that is because the Chachamim understood that traveling through a desert is especially dangerous. There's robbers and wild animals and all sorts of things that can happen. If a person crosses a desert, you have to make Birkat HaGomel. Interestingly, the Talmud Yerushalmi in Masechet Berachot writes that Kol hadrachim bechizkat sakana. All roads are considered dangerous. Now, because of that, the Rosh in Masechet Berachot says that some want to say that anytime, forget about traveling through a desert, anytime you travel through any roads, you'd have to make Birkat HaGomel. Nevertheless, the Rosh writes himself that was not the minhag in Ashkenaz v'Tzarfat, in Ashkenaz in Germany and France. Ashkenazi Jews did not have such a minhag, only davka when they traveled through midbarot, through deserts, because that's extremely dangerous. But traveling on any random roads says that's not as dangerous, and therefore he said their minhag was not to make Birkat HaGomel. What about the Gemara, the Yerushalmi that says that Kol hadrachim bechizkat sakana? He says that has to do with Tfilat HaDerech. They'll say Tfilat HaDerech, but not Birkat HaGomel. Nevertheless, the Ramban in the Sefer Torah Adam disagrees with the Rosh, and he says that the minhag of Bnei Sfarad was on any roads that you travel through, you make Birkat HaGomel, because like we said before, Kol hadrachim bechizkat sakana, anytime you travel through a road, it's considered dangerous, and you make Birkat HaGomel as well. The Tur in Siman Reshutet brings down the different minhagim, as does Maran HaShulchan Aruch, and he says that for Ashkenazim, the halacha is that they do not make Birkat HaGomel when traveling through any random roads, but according to Minhag HaSfaradim, he writes that we make Birkat HaGomel traveling through any road, as long as the trip, however you were traveling, by foot, by car, by train, however it is that you were traveling, takes the shi'ur parsa. Parsa is about a 72-minute travel distance. If you traveled between city to city for 72 minutes, you make Birkat HaGomel. Marana Bet Yosef adds that if you traveled through an especially dangerous place, even for less than 72 minutes, for instance, Chas v'Shalom, sometimes in Israel, if you're not following the right navigation or whatever it is, you can make a wrong turn and go through an Arab village or terrorist village or whatever it is. So over there, if mistakenly Chas v'Shalom person did that and he got out, even for less than 72 minutes, you would make Birkat HaGomel. Bevadai, L'da'at Marana Bet Yosef. Now, that was Bizmanam. What about nowadays, when a person traveling through roads, there's not so much, there's not as much wild animals and thieves and things like that. What's the halacha? So according to Gaon Chacham Tzion Abba Shaul in Or Letzion, he says, Be'emet, nowadays, even according to Maran, you shouldn't be making Birkat HaGomel for driving on highways. He says it's not so dangerous anymore, especially since there's other cars around. There's not so much danger for a person to be attacked. Maran Zechron Bracha and Chazon Ovadia disagrees with the Or Letzion, and he says, no, anytime you travel through roads, highways, whatever it is, from city to city, first of all, he brings down a few svarot. A Gaon of Moshe Feinstein writes that according to Minhag HaSfaradim, even though nowadays there aren't so many animals, we have to say thank you to HaKadosh Baruch Hu for putting it in the hearts of the animals not to attack the road when we're driving through it. That in and of itself is a reason to thank. Number two, forget about wild animals and thieves. They're accidents. Accidents happen, and people get hurt, people die. So a person has to, and lachen le'alacha ma'aseh, for the Sfaradim today, according to Maran Zechron Bracha, person who travels through a highway, from one place to another that takes 72 minutes, la halacha, even if you didn't drive 72 minutes, but if you're going back and forth on the same day, meaning same day and night, you're going back and forth from the same city, and altogether it takes 72 minutes, you're also chayav to make Birkat HaGomel once you come back. That's la halacha ul ma'aseh. I heard a story, a Sfaradi boy in an Ashkenazi yeshiva not long ago. He asked me la halacha, he knows the halacha. He asked me, I'm traveling to the mountains. He got to the mountains or whatever it was, and he wanted to make Birkat HaGomel, and because he was part of Ashkenazi yeshiva, they said, you can't make the bracha. I said, Mazeh? Why? Because it's not minhagenu. I told him to tell the yeshiva, b'derech kavod, said it's not minhagenu, maybe it's not your minhag, but it's our minhag. How are you going to let me not make my bracha because your minhag? I told him to do it b'derech kavod. At the end, they didn't let him do it at all, because they held the shitatam was bracha levatala. Is bracha levatala? Open up Shulchan Aruch, Siman Reshutet, Tzaiv Zayin. Look, Maran Meforash says to do it. Why would you say it's bracha levatala? It's considered, it's a little bit of an injustice to do that to a boy. I don't need you to tell me to make the bracha. I just need you for the minyan. Told him to do it somewhere else anyway. Aval mikol makom, you see, even because the chilukei minhagim, everybody should stay to their own minhag and not encroach on somebody else's custom. Have a wonderful day and Shavua Tov.